From the lovable hamster to the detested rat, the hyperactive chipmunk to the giant capybara, rodents have taken over the planet. There must be more to them than just springing mousetraps and stealing cheese. But what are the secrets of their global success? For good or bad, rodents shape the world around them. They survive extremes, build elaborate homes, and escape predators at every turn. Love them or hate them, rodents are fascinating and entertaining, and are more important than you might think. The term rat race describes the struggle for money or power, but is perhaps better suited to the hectic lifestyle of rodents. When you are the size of a rat, the world can be a scary place, and you must be constantly on your toes. Rodents are featured in every nature documentary, but not even as supporting cast. They are merely catering to the stars. But are we selling the little guys short? There is so much more to the rodent family than a predator buffet. For every rodent caught, you can be sure there will be others to safeguard the rodent's reign. They say you are never more than a few meters away from a rodent. Can it be true? And if so, what is the secret of their monumental success? Rodents can be tiny, smaller than your little finger. The diminutive harvest mouse weighs less than an average coin. Quite a contrast to their gigantic cousins, capybaras. South American callosities that can weigh twice as much as a Labrador dog. But although they are different ends of the scale, all rodents have one trait in common: the ultimate weapon in world domination: self-sharpening, chisel-shaped teeth. The huge incisors never stop growing. Enamel only grows on the front, so it doesn't wear as quickly as the back, ensuring a razor-sharp edge. Though famous for tearing through electrical cables and kitchen skirting boards, the chisels were designed to make short work of even the toughest seeds and nuts. The nut-cracking champ is the agouti. Like a long-legged guinea pig, but bigger than a cat, this rodent scours the South American rainforest for fallen treasures, even the concrete-coated Brazil nut. It is one of the few animals with the strength and tools to eat them. With their keen senses, rodents are active by day, like the agouti, or can operate under the cover of darkness. Garden dormice forage at night. With large ears and eyes, they enjoy keen senses. But it's really another crucial tool of the trade: the array of sensitive whiskers that enable them to feel their way in the dark. With padded feet and a long tail for balance, they seem to defy gravity as they dash over the rocks. Rodents are often considered vegetarians, and it's true that they like grasses, seeds, fruits and shoots. But dormice are quite predatory as well, scouring for insects, snails, even frogs or lizards. This time, though, a raspberry, a sugary treat. Though Mum seems to have a sweet tooth, and Junior struggles to get his share. But the young hunter already has good predatory instincts of his own. It's not easy to de-slime a slug. Rodents never seem to stop moving. They dash in a constant search for food. With their impressive work ethic and masterful mastication, the rodents have conquered every corner of the globe. Even the harshest weather doesn't stop them. To deal with the coldest conditions, many rodents exhibit another superhuman trait. They hibernate through winter. The garden dormice curl up in tiny nests and can sleep in a state of suspended animation for an incredible 7 months. This is only possible if they find enough food to build up a good fat layer in autumn. By lowering their temperature and heartbeat, the tiny mice hardly burn any calories and can sleep tight. The name dormouse derives from the French dormir, to sleep. African ground squirrels have the opposite problem. They have to endure the scalding African sun. They have to feed, but to avoid sunstroke, they use parasols. Their prehensile fluffy tails. Now shade follows them as they work. With their ingenuity, rodents are everywhere. They thrive in jungles, on open grasslands, submerged in rivers, in dense forests, or even on the Arctic tundra. There seems to be no limit to their global takeover. Forget Mighty Mouse, the Caped Crusader. There are real rodents who have taken to the sky, not as flyers, but gliders. With treetop launches, flying squirrels paraglide with skin membranes stretched between their hands and feet. Cartilage spurs that look like thumbs reduce drag by 20%, a design now copied on the wings of aeroplanes, but invented by rodent kind. Steering with their limbs and stabilized by their tail, they can rocket over 90 meters in a single glide. It's a shortcut to find new food or a mate. And their aerial acrobatics mean they can enjoy the high life, out of reach of most predators. But it's a lifestyle that requires a head for heights, and it doesn't suit everyone. This little guy isn't too sure yet. He's a month old and has never ventured out on his own. Flying squirrels stay with their mothers longer than most rodents to complete their pilot training. Sooner or later, he'll need a test flight. He needs to join his mother in the treetops, enjoying succulent leaves that other browsers can't reach. The little one bravely goes out on a limb. But it's dangerous hanging about in the open. Gliding could get him to safety, but young and inexperienced, the little one bottles it and runs for home. It seems the sky's the limit. Antarctica is the only corner of the globe that rodents have yet to colonize. One key ingredient to their monumental spread is their infamous ability to breed. A single brown rat can churn out an army over a dozen litters per year, with each containing from 6 to 22 young. Every baby will be able to breed itself within 3 months. So by the end of 1 year, a single pregnant rat could result in a rat population of hundreds. Like most rodents, a wood mouse litter starts out as blind, helpless jelly beans. The little ones, known as pinkies, weigh half a gram and are totally dependent on their mother for food and warmth. But in the blink of an eye, things change. It takes just 3 weeks for them to be weaned, switching from milk to solid food and venturing out into the world. Rats and mice make many people shudder, but even the most loved rodents act as though they are breeding an army fit for world domination. In a den below a meadow, this golden hamster tends to her litter. With the shortest gestation known for any mammal, she was pregnant for just 16 days. The pups are already precocious and keen to explore, but she does her best to keep the litter together. Right now, the best place for these little ones will be safely against their mother's warm body. But this maternal bliss is not to last. These baby boomers will be ready to have babies themselves in just a month. A mother's work is never done, and before long she's having to make endless trips to gather food to take back to the den. The pups are making the switch from milk to solids. Time to break in new chisel teeth. Despite the rich pickings, they are reluctant to give up on milk, meaning Mum never gets the chance to relax. It's not long before they feel the urge to fly the nest, the most dangerous time of their lives. Timidly, they venture outside. There is a reason that rodents have so many babies. It's because everything wants to eat them. Many will fall to predators, but it's a numbers game. By churning babies out, the mother ensures that at least a few will survive and breed themselves. A polecat, the deadliest threat, can smell the nest. But the burrow's empty. The incredibly fast growth of young rodents means that the turbocharged baby hamsters are already making their way in the world. It's hard to outrun the rat race. Even the biggest rodents face challenges when they are young. The capybara herd comes ashore to sun themselves on the bank. They mostly do this at dawn and dusk. They will sink back into the water when the sun gets too hot. The rodent marines are perfectly adapted for this semi-aquatic lifestyle, with their eyes, ears and nostrils on top of their heads, so they can keep the rest of their plump body submerged. Unlike solitary hamsters, capybaras enjoy being part of a crowd. Squads of 100 are not uncommon, though typically it's smaller, led by 1 or 2 dominant males. The advantage of communal living is homeland security. There are more pairs of eyes to watch for danger. These giants breed at a more leisurely pace than their tiny Minnie Mouse cousins. Just one litter is born each year and will take around 3 months to raise. Until then, they enjoy the protection of the whole group. All they want to do is play, but they need to learn to stay alert. The jaguar, South America's biggest cat, loves nothing more than capybara. In stealth mode, it's carried on silent, padded feet. A lone youngster is firmly in its sights. Experienced adults spot the threat and sound the alarm. Their best chance of escape is the river. The anxious mother calls her young together. But for one pup, it's too late. The jaguar is one of the few cats that's at home in water. Even for the Marines, it's a deadly threat. The world of rodents is under siege from all sides. It seems everyone is out to get them. Double-jointed ankles means the red squirrel can scale a tree at high speed. The wildcat will have to look elsewhere. A good rodent population is an indication of a healthy environment, but predators don't care. To them, it's a dinner bell. Mouse catchers need patience and stealth. Yes, it can be tough at the bottom of the food chain, but you can't keep a good mouse down. And the little furry mammals are so important as a food source that their success and failure can dictate the fate of many predators. Owl chicks would not survive without a constant supply of voles and mice. To keep up with the demands, owls have become the ultimate mousetraps. Flat faces act like satellite dishes to pick up the tiniest sounds. Deadly talons are guided by eagle eyes. And furry feathers make sure their wings don't make a sound. The vole never knew what hit it. A great grey owl chick like this will munch its way through 10 rodents a day. It keeps the parents busy, but luckily, with their high turnout, there are plenty of rodents to find. On the Arctic tundra, food can be in short supply for both predators and prey. If lemming populations are left unchecked, they can overgraze the fragile tundra, literally eating themselves out of house and home. They need predators like snowy owls to help control their numbers. A single snowy owl can munch through 1,600 lemmings a year. But how many chicks a snowy owl can raise is dictated by the number of lemmings, so the owls can't produce more predators than the lemming population can handle. This year, lemming numbers are quite low, and the owl is struggling to raise 2 chicks. On a lemming bumper year, snowy owls can raise up to 8. When one population does well, the other does too. Being tasty doesn't hold the rodents back from world domination, but it does mean that they need special defense tactics to deal with the attacks. One of the young hamsters is getting to grips with life in the wild. But to the kite, she's a bite-sized bundle of protein. With her short, stubby legs, she'd struggle to outrun a bird of prey. But with instinct and a detailed mental map of her territory, she performs a disappearing trick. Much of rodent kind excavates tunnels, safe houses to avoid the dangers of the world above. But it's a lot of hard work and requires constant maintenance. It's her dexterous front feet and strong shoulders that do most of the work, dragging the landfill away from their life-saving tunnel. It's a dirty job, but rodents are fastidious. Despite our fears about filthy disease-spreading animals, they are unusually clean. She spends several hours a day grooming. Tunnel maintenance can be tiring work. There are a few rodents with loftier ideas. Rather than tunnel underground, the diminutive harvest mouse defeats gravity. It stands no chance against a predator, but it's so small it can climb a blade of grass, a tightrope trick, getting head and shoulders above the most persistent viper. A bird-like nest is a treehouse, safe for raising the kids. Grand designs, but there is one rodent that seems to work harder on its housing than any other. Under the cover of darkness, a huge rodent puts its wood-cutting chisels to work. Hour after hour he gnaws. Though largely nocturnal, sunrise finds him still at it. Until finally, woodwork specialist, the beaver. First job, breakfast. He and his family will make a feast from the fresh leaves and twigs that had been previously out of reach. A flap of skin in his mouth enables him to gnaw even when underwater. The rest of the timber will be carried in for home improvements. The lodge, the rodent's greatest building accomplishment. For extra home security, the entrance is located underwater to prevent unwanted visitors. Surrounded by a moat and inside their thick-walled castle, Mr. and Mrs. Beaver have a cozy nursery where they can raise their kits. Each year they have a small litter, and the parents, who will stay together for life, put all their effort into raising their young and keeping them safe. Once they are a couple of years old, the young will be encouraged to leave the lodge and start building a family of their own. The lodge is also a great place to groom. Split toenails are used to rub oil from special glands to waterproof their thick fur. Thanks to the oiled outer guard hairs, the soft, insulating down underneath never gets wet. A unique rodent survival suit. Playground by summer, the lodge will also be a larder through winter, so the family barely has to step out in the cold. The kits are developing well. At almost 6 months old, they will soon be weaned off their mother's milk, and their life of woodwork will begin. But having a fixed address can create new challenges for rodents. They're at the mercy of the elements. Heavy rain brings flooding. Anything living the low life might find itself in too deep. It can be hard to keep your head above water, and although all rodents are good swimmers, sometimes it's easier to go with the flow. But that's not the only danger from storms. It just takes one lightning strike, and a whole forest can go up in flames. Large animals can make a run for it, but that's not an option if you only have tiny legs. The mouse has no choice than to hide in her burrow. It's a risk. If the fire burns too hot, her home could become her grave. But luckily, this one passes quickly, and they are deep enough to avoid a roasting. From her bunker, she surveys the devastation. There may be lean times ahead until the forest starts to recover. A rodent's home turf can be instantly transformed, sometimes with disastrous consequences. Meadows are incredibly inviting to grass-munching rodents. It's prime real estate, but the landlords can be pretty heavy-handed. Young speckled ground squirrels naively watch the tractors at work. The slow-moving vehicles don't seem too threatening, but they draw in an unexpected visitor. The tractor trailers are white storks, who know there will soon be lots of homeless rodents. Voles are the main casualties, easy to spot in the short stubble. The squirrels look like they're munching popcorn whilst watching a horror movie. Recently weaned, they haven't experienced storks before and are slow to react. A wiser parent sounds the alarm, but it falls on deaf ears. The stork knows patience is the key. It's a tough life lesson for the survivors. To counter colony annihilation, many rodents have complex alarm systems. An alpine marmot keeps his eyes on the sky. If he spots an enemy fighter, he can sound the alarm and warn his neighbors. Many rodents have different sounds or words for different kinds of threats. With someone watching their backs, nobody needs to get hurt. African ground squirrels have a different strategy. They employ a security team. Meerkats live in close-knit clans and are dedicated to safeguarding their families. Whatever the troop is doing, there is always somebody on guard. The jackal is quickly spotted. With the troop on high alert, it knows it can't sneak to within striking range. It gives up to search for an easier target. As long as the meerkat bodyguards are on duty, the ground squirrels can relax. They are not the only rodents to take advantage of other species. Living in marshland, capybaras can become riddled with ticks and other parasites, but luckily they have care workers close at hand. The young caracara gives him a makeover. He seems oblivious for the most part. The bird doesn't require much payment. It's after ticks, not tips. Though it does occasionally supplement its income with a drop of blood. Sometimes fellow citizens can be useful, but others can be neighbors from hell. This koipu is just looking for a quiet spot to have his lunch. But for some reason, his presence upsets the local geese. Perhaps it's not just people with a prejudice against rodent kind. He may have to find a new spot to dine. To discourage interfering neighbors and keep trespassers at bay, some rodents put up keep out signs. Every time the flying squirrel leaves his home, he pees on his porch. He rubs scent glands on his chin on prominent branches. He does everything he can to make his patch smell of him. He's kicking up a stink, a clear message, no trespassers. And here's the finishing touch. Some rodents are antisocial individuals, but even the socialites find it hard to get on all the time. Fights are mostly about territory, mating rights, or food, and never more so than autumn. The beauty belies the fact that this is the end of the year's productivity. Plant life is shutting down. This is a challenging time for all animals. They need to eat as much as they can before food resources become scarce. For rodents, it's especially important to pile on the pounds. They will only make it through winter if they can build up their fat reserves now. But autumn has one last gift for rodent kind. Trees produce seeds, their genetic legacy, and each wrapped in a handy lunchbox. Acorns are packed with proteins and fats, a forest Big Mac, just what the squirrel needs. He must gain 12% of his body weight in fat to make it through the winter. Squirrels can eat almost anything. They'll take insects, eggs, even baby birds if they come across them. But at this time of year, they are nuts about nuts. It's not just acorns. Trees are busy producing all manner of goodies. Everyone wants a piece of the action. When every calorie counts, it's not surprising tempers are quick to fray. Mice become monsters. All over the forest, rodents are eating and stashing as much as they can. "80% of a red squirrel's active life is spent gathering food. With dexterous hands and trademark chiseled teeth, even spiny sweet chestnuts are up for grabs. What he doesn't eat now, he'll stash in the leaf litter as a larder he can return to in harder times. To maximize his chances, he follows his nose straight to the source. Pine cones. Why wait for them to drop when you can help them on their way? But his handiwork doesn't go unnoticed. Someone else wants to get their hands on his nuts. Food theft will not be tolerated. He reclaims his hard-won prize. Competition is fierce, but many rodents have another trick up their sleeve. Chipmunks work at breakneck speed gathering food, but if they stop to eat it, they risk being mugged. So they load their shopping bags, giant cheek pouches. The loot can double the chipmunk's weight. He'll unload his shopping into a hollow log for safekeeping. Chipmunks have been known to store up to 30,000 nuts in one place. As they forage, they also move around fungi that are important to the health of tree roots. Like the chipmunk, the hamster carries food home in her cheek pouches to build up a winter store. Knowing that there is always a snack on hand, she'll be able to sleep through the tough winter. Thanks to their resourcefulness, rodents seem to be able to handle whatever nature throws at them. Winter's tough, but with their food stores, the squirrel and his rodent friends will get through. Somehow squirrels are able to locate their buried nuts under a meter of snow. And if it gets too cold, he can always go inside. Freezing waterways present new challenges for the beaver. Is he losing his grip? He could be in his nice warm home right now. Perhaps it just feels good to get some fresh air. There are 33 species of mite that can live on beaver fur, and the number of parasites can build up in the lodge, so grooming is essential. Though maybe he's grooming here to get a few minutes out of the house and away from the kids. Then, despite the cold, this industrial carpenter gets back to work. Beaver rarely come out during the winter, but the odd property inspection is a good idea. The family have invested too much time in their lodge to risk intruders moving in. He seems satisfied that all is in order. Life's struggles don't stop, whatever the weather. It's not just rodents who are hungry. Predators are too. and extra determined. It seems everyone has turned up, all wanting to invite the rodents to dinner. And perhaps the greatest threat of all, the great grey owl. Thanks to their incredible success in breeding and raising their young, the rodent world is keeping the rest of the animal community alive. But they do much more for the world than just sacrifice themselves for lunch. Rodents can be keystone species, critical elements of ecosystems, fulfilling many vital roles. Remember the squirrel caching his nuts? Well, he didn't. Some of the acorns carefully buried for later by the squirrel will be forgotten, and now lovingly planted, they will grow. The squirrel is gardening the forest, carrying seeds away from their parents and planting them in good healthy spots, ensuring the forest's future. Life can be hard to crack, and some plants need even more help to get them started. Tough nuts count on animals to break their seal, and who better than chisel-toothed rodents? It's only the action of agouti teeth that get Brazil nuts on their way. The various ground squirrels of the world make meadows and prairies healthier by aerating the soil and redistributing nutrients through their tunneling. And there is one rodent that goes all out to make the world a better place. Beavers build dams across rivers to control the flow of water. They are making ponds, safe havens for their lodges and a source of nutrient-rich aquatic vegetation. But in doing so, they create habitat for a huge host of other species. The watery wonderland teems with life. All stages of the food chain, from plants and insects to birds and fish, benefit from the beaver's hard work. And what's good for them can be good for us too. Our relationship with rodents can be very confusing. They can be pests, but they can also be useful. They can shape their world and even enrich ours. Looks like our squirrel has found a friend. Rodents are cute, versatile, and very successful. And with their incredible breeding abilities, the rodent empire is in no doubt here to stay.